Specialist Navy divers try to assess the state of the sinking ship, the Express Pearl. But heavy rains, wind, poor visibility and 2-meter sea swells make that impossible. Authorities are racing to prevent further environment damage in the event of an oil spill. The impact of over 300 tons of oil, chemicals and hazardous material leaking into the sea would be disastrous for the environment. Millions of plastic beads from the ship have already fouled the ocean and dozens of kilometers of Sri Lanka's coastline. Environmentalists are warning of long-lasting and dire consequences.
Yes, since 2 o'clock this afternoon it has been shut off. It's surrounded by police. People are allowed to come in and out of the park, but not into the centre forecourt and playing fields, which is normally where the Tiananmen Square, the 4th of June vigil would take place, as it has ever since the first impromptu one in 1989. The reason, like last year, ostensibly, officially, is COVID-19 and social distancing, but Hong Kong's fourth wave of COVID-19 is pretty much over. There hasn't been a locally transmitted case for the last month, and there have been many other large gatherings allowed over the last month or so. It's really, even though the government doesn't really want to bring politics into it, they are now citing the possible prosecutions for people who attend, and they even mention the national security law in certain communiques.
Russia has announced that it will revamp and upgrade its military presence along its European borders in response to a reported buildup by the US-led NATO bloc, as well as stepping up the presence of both its navy and warplanes. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said on Monday that more than a dozen new units would be formed in the Western Military District, which covers much of the European portion of Russia, following increased activity in the region. The actions of our Western colleagues destroy the security system in the world and force us to take adequate countermeasures, he said in a statement released by officials. We are constantly improving the combat composition of our troops. By the end of the year, about 20 formations and military units will be set up.
An Iranian fighter jet on Tuesday developed a technical problem that killed both of the aircraft's pilots, state TV reported. The report said the incident happened in the country's southwest, in the city of Desfil, 444 kilometers, 270 miles, from the capital, Tehran, and near the border with Iraq. The report said an investigation was underway as to what had caused the malfunction of the Iranian Air Force's F-5 fighter jet. The TV said it happened before takeoff. It did not elaborate, according to the Associated Press. The report, citing an informed source, identified the pilots as Kyanish Basadi and Hossein Nami, without providing their rank. Authorities were investigating, it said.
The NPA's investigating directorate has seized assets worth more than 520 million rand belonging to the Gupta family, their business associate Iqbal Sharma and his wife Tarina Patel. Now the seizure follows a decision by the Free State High Court in Bloemfontein on Wednesday to grant the directorate an order to preserve the assets of island site investments.
That this has been almost 5 years in the making since, the Gupta leaks emails came out with the details of how then the Gupta family, through their henchmen, as they've been described, have been skimming off contracts, money from state coffers, I should say. And so this is a significant development, that assets are now being seized, that some of the money that was taken unduly so may be recovered.
Danish MPs voted by 70 to 24 to move refugees arriving on Danish soil to asylum centres in a partner country, potentially outside Europe. The vote could mean refugees given asylum would stay in the host country but not Denmark. Backed by Denmark's far right, it's the latest anti-immigration measure from Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen's centre-left Social Democratic government, which has a declared goal of receiving 0 refugees. The country had more than 10,000 asylum seeker applications in 2015. That's compared to a little over 1,500 last year. Of those, 601 people got a permit to stay. Denmark has yet to reach an agreement with a partner country. Negotiations are ongoing with several, including, reportedly, Tunisia, Ethiopia and Egypt.
One million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will soon arrive in South Korea from the U.S. This is according to the country's vaccination task force. The White House also confirmed it, saying the vaccines are being loaded onto a plane, which is set to leave the United States on Thursday evening, local time. The extra supply comes after President Biden pledged to provide COVID-19 vaccines to fully inoculate 550,000 South Korean troops who serve shoulder to shoulder with American soldiers deployed here. The single-shot vaccines are scheduled to arrive early Saturday morning, Korea time. More AstraZeneca vaccines will also be available. 877,000 doses will be delivered Friday, the last batch of the UK-made vaccines scheduled to be shipped by June.
Nearly 3,000 junior doctors working in the 6 government medical colleges of the Madhya Pradesh resigned en masse from their posts on Thursday after the Madhya Pradesh High Court directed the striking junior doctors in the state to resume their duties within 24 hours. The doctors remained defiant and submitted their resignations to the dean of their respective colleges. Madhya Pradesh Junior Doctors Association President Dr. Arvind Meena said, "The strike, which began on Monday, will continue until their demands are met, which include security for medical personnel on COVID duty, a hike in stipend, and free treatment for them and their families if they contract the deadly coronavirus infection."
Ultra sleek, ultra fast, this supersonic jet promises to propel passengers beyond the sound barrier. United is buying 15 aircraft from US aviation startup Boom Supersonic.
This is a big day for the future of travel.
The jets will carry 88 passengers flying at 60,000 feet, cutting flight times in half. Los Angeles to Sydney in 8.5 hours. New York to London in 3.5 hours. San Francisco to Tokyo in 6 hours, likely for the price of a first-class ticket. It was 2003 when the Concorde last flew passengers over the Atlantic at twice the speed of sound. The aircraft deemed too loud and too costly. A fatal crash in 2000 killed everyone on board, contributing to the end of its 27-year operation.